What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Strangely, it seems that Media Create sales charts, the information that was provided for the Switch Lite by analysts was actually wrong. It was very strange yesterday, but we did get the official Famitsu numbers that give us a very good idea as to how the Switch Lite did in Japan during its launch of 2 or 3 days, and then Link's Awakening as well. So we'll be going over all of that, and there's some interesting stuff to take out of that report and kind of give us an idea going forward. Also, I've talked about VR quite a bit and how they need to change some things to make it more accessible to people. It looks like they are doing just that. Oculus is going in a very interesting direction, and hey, there's a new steering wheel coming to the Switch, and I have a few questions about that as well. As always, guys, enjoy these videos. Make sure to hit the like button. It does help out, and get subscribed so you can stay updated on all of the gaming news going on in the gaming world, and I guess make sure you hit the little bell down there as well. We'll see if YouTube makes all that happen. We'll see. Today, though, we're going to start with Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Now, we had State of Play, of course. That was interesting. I think the big announcement most of us saw and remember was The Last of Us Part 2 coming out at the end of February. However, Call of Duty did show one thing that was a bit odd. Now, it showed a mode called Survival Mode, and that was cool, but they went by it pretty quick. At the bottom, however, did mark it as the PlayStation exclusive content. That's not really new for Call of Duty. We've seen exclusive content go to different systems, like Microsoft had that for a long time with the 360, where they would get the DLC early by a few weeks or a month even. However, this mode is going to be on PlayStation seemingly for an entire year. That's right, it won't be available on the Xbox One version, or I guess even PC, until October of 2020. Yeah, the entire cycle for Call of Duty before the next Call of Duty comes out, it is going to be specific to the PlayStation 4 version, and that's something else. That's like a new milestone for console exclusivity. Now, of course, I guess it could have just been permanent, so they are eventually going to have it run out, but wow, that is a bit surprising. I understand if you want to do system like a skin for it's just for the PlayStation 1, or I guess DLC that's a month early. We've seen it. But now we're in a territory where it is a full year of exclusivity for an entire mode, survival mode, that they showed off, that some people on Xbox and PC might be kind of annoyed that's a 1-year exclusivity. And I can kind of understand that looking at it. But hey, it's Sony playing the game, and well, we're going into a new console generation, so maybe Microsoft can do something here to push them around to the other side. We'll see. Oh, and Shenmue 3 is supposed to have a demo? Do you remember this? We talked about this last month. They're supposed to have a demo September. Well, we're coming up to the end of September, and we hadn't heard much about a demo, at least not until now. It appears that backers, at least, will be able to try out a demo for Shenmue 3 this weekend. Now, you're going to want to keep an eye out on your email and on the Kickstarter page. I believe they'll also have some updates and everything, specifically about how you access it. It does appear that if you did it through PC, you'll have to go through the Epic Game Store and everything. And I guess on the PlayStation, there'll be a code that you get or something. They weren't as clear about how it's going to happen, just that it is happening this weekend. And again, it kind of has to. It's the last weekend of September, so that's kind of a thing. Now, just a quick refresher, as you're seeing here, just kind of the idea of what the demo is going to be. You're basically going to spend 1 day worth of time in the game, and you progress the story and defeat a key character in battle. The in-game clock reaches 9 p.m., and you can replay the game after completing the objective, or your time is up. They won't have a save or load feature. Same specifications differ, and there's no tutorial at the game start. You will need at least 20 gigabytes of storage to install the demo. So hey, good news for Shenmue fans. I know there's a lot of people who are still a bit concerned about visuals and the presentation and everything, but getting a demo, so we'll at least get some impressions early on. Also, do you remember that fight stick, the Neo Geo SNK that they're making, that they're going to release? It's going to be a plug-and-play, but it can also become a controller. We weren't really sure what games were coming on it. They told us there'd be 20 of them. Well, they released the game list. I'm a little disappointed by it, but let's take a look. They put a little graphic out, and we'll go down the list of a few of them. Pretty much all of the King of Fighters, just about 95 through 2002. It's just a metric ton of King of Fighters. I guess that makes sense. It's SNK, it's Neo Geo, sure. And then we have a couple Fatal Furies in there, which includes Special and 3. Garu, Mark of the Wolves, that's a good one. Some Samurai Showdowns thrown in there, World Heroes, Ninja Masters, Last Blade, and then a few others. I'm a little surprised that there's no Metal Slug. I'm kind of disappointed even. Although I'm still unsure as to if I really care to buy this thing it seems odd. I know it's in the shape of a fight stick and that's interesting and everything, but I don't know. The game selection here doesn't really compel me to pick it up. I was hoping there'd be a bit more to it, and it just seems like you might be better off buying a fight stick and then getting a system that it's compatible with that may already have some of these games on it. But hey, I guess it's supposed to come out sometime towards the end of this year, early 2020, and then we'll find out how good it actually is. And guys, some of the quick news out of the way, let's get in the bigger stuff. Let's start with the steering wheel. Have you ever wanted to play Mario Kart on your Switch, or I guess just games on your PC, with a Mario Kart themed steering wheel, pedals and all? Well, it's your lucky day. Well, November will be, I guess, in there will be your lucky day, because we are getting 2 different steering wheels from Hori. There's a metric ton of pictures they put out of these things, and one is more expensive than the other. The DX, I guess that'd be deluxe version, is just about twice as much as the base model, and it looks like it has extra buttons and levers and features and paddles and everything. A lot more stuff going on there. I kind of like the color scheme anyway for that one as well, but a ton of pictures, like I said, and you can look forward to checking this out on Play Asia, because it appears that it is Japan only from what we're seeing so far. That's where they have it up for order and everything. And it does come with 2 pedals, and then it also has a large steering wheel base, with the DX version having suction cups on the bottom to, I guess, just basically grip it to your desk so it won't go flying off if you try to make a turn really hard. This is going to work on the PC, the Switch Lite as well, through some sort of adapter, like get to plug it into like a USB Type-C to Type A. You can plug it into that, and it should work fine. You'll still have to prop the Switch Lite up and everything. That's all set up. You'll probably buy this for the regular Switch, most likely. But this is interesting because we see the foot pedals, and I'm curious if this is going to be a straight up digital press. I guess it is, unless Nintendo is installing a way for there to be analog presses. However, after talking with the developers of Grid, whether it's on Twitter and everything, they did respond to me saying that the Switch just, at this time, unless it's a GameCube controller, just cannot understand the analog press. So it only knows digital. So analog triggers like we see on the Xbox One or the PS4 just cannot be detected through normal means, whether it's wireless or the USB. It has to go through a GameCube port, and that's a bit disappointing. However, Nintendo could, I think, eventually patch that in, and that would make something like this be amazing. I mean, yeah, I know steering wheels are on other systems, I get that, but there's really nothing like that on the Switch that I've seen, and of course it's themed and set up specifically for Mario Kart. It looks like, so it's Hori. I'm still tentative about their quality at times, but this could be pretty interesting to see. Pricing, however, okay, you're gonna have to think about this one. So if you jump over to Play Asia, there is a full page where you can see the pricing along with, I guess, what it is for shipping and everything. But the Mario Kart racing wheel for the Nintendo Switch DX edition is $137 out of Japan, and then the regular one is $76. So that is, that's kind of expensive. Now look, steering wheels can cost quite a bit of money on other systems. It's not uncommon to spend $150, $200 on a steering wheel on something like the Xbox One. I remember the Xbox 360 had the one that had force feedback. This one does not appear to have that. It also doesn't have, of course, the analog detection for the pedals and everything. But I could see this actually being really fun for someone who wants a steering wheel for Mario Kart, and it's fully compatible, officially licensed, everything through Hori there. So this looks like it could be fun, but I want to see the quality of it. And you know what? Maybe we'll get it, and we'll open it up and see how the quality is inside for the steering wheel. I would be more interested in the DX version, since that's the one that's more expensive. Of course, the cheaper one will be built with cheaper components, not as many features. But hey, look forward to it coming out at the end of November, and if you want to grab it, they do have it up on Play Asia now, so you can check it out and learn more about it. Next up, let's talk about the Oculus Quest and the Oculus Rift S. There's an update coming out next year, early next year, 2020, and it's pretty game-changing, I would say. So think about this. When you put on a VR headset and you realize that in the game you have to hold controllers, whether it's 2 different controllers or 1, so that you can do things in the game, that's kind of game-breaking, isn't it? I mean, you start to realize, oh yeah, it's just VR, I get it. Like, it's not as immersive. But what if you didn't need those? What if your hands could be detected just by your headset? Because that's what's happening here. They're introducing hand tracking where you don't need to have anything on your hands, and the headset will detect where they are in front of you. That is pretty big, I would say. Here's the thing with VR. You need to eliminate as much stuff as possible from it before people will start to really latch on and see it as less of a hindrance to set it up. The Oculus Quest is, I think, as close to mainstream as we can get without PlayStation VR. PSVR, of course, is attached to PlayStation 4, so it makes sense why it's the best-selling headset. But I look at the Quest constantly, and I say that makes sense to try to get VR into kind of the mainstream. There's no setup, there's no wires, it's all wireless, nothing like that. It does have controllers, but the way it's going to work is it has cameras on the outsides and detection, and it's able to detect your hands. So when you're in the game, as they showed in the demo reel and everything, you could basically just reach out and grab stuff without having to have a glove on or anything to detect your fingers. It's able to do all of that. This feels like a pretty large breakthrough for something like the Oculus Rift, like I said, because that would work really well for people who just want to put the headset on. You don't have to hold up controllers or plug them in or charge them or anything. You just go, and it makes a lot of sense. So I am very interested in this. The update is going to be apparently pushed to your Oculus Quest if you already have one. The Rift S is coming up as well. And at the beginning of 2020, no date right now, early 2020, you'll be able to update your Quest and all of a sudden have hand tracking. That's pretty big. Next up, let's talk about the Famitsu sales charts out of Japan. I told you before, we talked a bit about the 114,000 Switch Lites that were reported, where Daniel Ahmed tweeted them out and everything about Media Create. However, those numbers appear to be incorrect. The correct Media Create sales numbers appear to be 161,000 units for the week. That's just for the Switch Lite in that 2 or 3 day window. But Famitsu has actually reported even more than that. However, I do want to start with the games, as you're seeing here. We're going to start with the top 10, and that is Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, as we would all expect at the top, 141,375. That's pretty good, I would say. However, in Japan, Zelda, believe it or not, is not as popular as in the West, like the US. So Link's Awakening is actually below most Zelda launches at 141,000, trailing just behind Twilight Princess on the Wii, which had 145,000. This did launch on Friday, though, so I'll give it that. So it only has 2 or 3 days of tracking, depending on when they cut it off. Monster Hunter World Iceborne Master Edition is right below that at number 2. eFootball Winning 11 at 3. Super Mario Maker 2 at 4. Smash Bros. Ultimate at 5. Ni no Kuni, actually, on the Switch. That's pretty good at 6 at 11,237. It is a re-release, of course, of the PS3 version. The PlayStation 4 version, strangely, is not on here. However, most of the people who have a PS4 may have already had a chance to check this out on the PS3, but still, there it is on the Switch at 6, pretty good. Minecraft at 7, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe 8, Fishing Spirits at 9, and then we have Borderlands 3 actually at 10. Moving over to the hardware, the Switch at the top, 239,740. That does include the Switch Lite and the regular Switch. Now, if we split those up, 177,936 of those were the Lite, and then 61,804 was the regular Switch. So even the regular Switch on its own saw a boost from the previous week. Most likely people are just out picking stuff up. Maybe one places out of the Lite, and they're like, well, I'm getting a Switch anyway, so I'll take that one. Hard to say, but it did have a jump. The PlayStation 4, 24,857. The 3DS, 1,687. The Xbox One, ladies and gentlemen, it's finally paying off, having Sakurai talk about it on the stream. Now, actually, this might have been from Gears, hard to say, but it jumped massively to 513. Interesting stuff there, though, for the Xbox One. Good for that system. Good for them. And then 28 on the Vita. And just a quick note of comparison. Here is actually a tweet that was put out by Game Data Library that compares them as the Switch Lite being, I guess that would be a revision, being directly behind the 3DS XL by about 10,000 units, but ahead of everything else. That includes things like the DSi, the new 3DS XL, the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Micro, and so on. So the Switch Lite, first week in Japan, first couple days, I would say, very good launch, very good. And here's the thing, it's going to get, I think, larger when it comes to sales numbers when Pokemon comes out. That's when you want to keep an eye on it. From then on through the holidays, the Switch Lite it's going to become the best seller in Japan. It probably will eventually. It sounds crazy, but it will. I think it'll come up against like the regular Switch just because of pricing. Like you could see that this could end up being a 3DS situation in terms of sales numbers because they've already got their main system down to $200. That's a pretty big deal, and I'm sure it did well in the US and other places. We'll just have to wait for Nintendo to tell us about how well it did with actual numbers when they update it. I believe that's in a month or two. So I'll keep you guys up to date on that because I am interested to see how the install size grows now that the Switch Lite is out. I'm thinking it's going to do really well. And then a Link's Awakening, we'll see how that continues in Japan, but that's going to be one you want to check out and see how it does in the US specifically. It's doing well in the UK, and we'll see what the MPDs say. And our last bit of news, let's talk about Mario Kart Tour. Came out on cell phones yesterday, and it's made some people pretty frustrated. People aren't very happy with it, and honestly, looking at it, I can see that because it's a free-to-play cell phone game, and that's generally what they do. Now, it does look like, I will admit, Nintendo has, well, they've jumped in headfirst on this thing. They're just all about this now, and they put quite a bit of monetization practices in play with Mario Kart Tour. It's sprung up with articles all over the place like this one that says Mario Kart Tour hides features behind a monthly subscription, and that is correct. There is the 200cc mode, and that is behind a $5 per month subscription fee, which is as much as Apple Arcade then. But other mobile games also have subscription fees, so that's not new. It's just interesting to see Nintendo pull from that so quickly. And then even if you look on places like Reddit and others, there was one that was upvoted very, very heavily that talked about it, pointing out several different things, including the amount of money that you can spend on, for example, microtransactions, of course, the 200cc mode, the fact that multiplayer is not available at this time. So we have microtransactions, gacha mechanics, very low rates for characters, although that, again, gotcha stuff, that's how it is, and the fact that there's a subscription fee. Everything's kind of piling up here, but Mario Run didn't do well. I wish it had. That's why we're in this spot now, because they took a shot with a $10 game, it didn't pan out. Fire Emblem Heroes is making tons of money. Which way are they going to go? Well, this way, because now we have Mario Kart Tour. And we'll finish up the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This one is from Latino Chico saying, I will wait for Final Fantasy VII Complete Edition for the PS5. I question if that will happen, mostly because I don't know when Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to finish up. I mean, think about it. If we're not getting the first part until 2020, beginning of 2020, let's say it takes 2 to 3 years to make the next few parts each, and it's only a 3 thing. What if it's 4 parts? We might be at the end of the PlayStation 5 life cycle before it even completes. And then we gotta wait till, that might be a PlayStation 6 thing. We don't know. Or they might just sell it in one big box set of like 12 discs or something, or you get a download of 500 gigabytes. It's gonna get out of control. I will say that. I think you're gonna be waiting a long time if you want the complete edition. So you might wanna look at reviews just for part 1. We'll see how long it is, and then we can kind of decide then. But the complete edition, it's gonna be a while. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, the like button really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about, whether it's Mario Kart Tour. It's a cell phone game, yes, but are you disappointed with how much Nintendo went into the monetization practices of other gacha games? Also, what do you think about the Oculus Quest and its hand tracking, or even that Mario Kart steering wheel? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.